Why, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your hosting guy, Zollan Artshield, and today we're going to be doing a Lotro update, my friends. I hope you're having a great and wonderful day in Middle-earth, wherever you are. So, the River Hobbits are a thing now. This is a new playable race in the Lord of the Rings Online. Technically, they're not a different race, but they're from a very different area of the story and lore, right? It's technically where kind of Gollum was from originally. So we're going to go over this in detail. I will also have some guide videos covering things over the next few days. So keep in mind, and let's check it out. And again, if you like Lord of the Rings content of any kind or Lotro, you should like and subscribe. Haha! All right, here we go. So we have update 37. This has been long awaited. We have a couple big things. I'm gonna give you a few points real quick just off my head that I know. River Hobbits is the thing. There's a new housing area that's in the Vales of Anduin that's like Hobbity. It's very cool. We'll have a video on that later on the channel. And then we also have a, there's a stat crunch. You know what that means in MMOs. We've never had that in Lotro, but we're finally getting to the point where they realized they had to. I'll do a more detailed video on that later, a separate one, to kind of explain and compare originally all those stats. But basically, it's because there's going to be a new expansion in the end of this year, right? And they're worried now that we're at 140, we're gonna go higher, that the 130 to 140 jump with stats was huge. The numbers were getting kind of already crazy. And I think they were afraid that the numbers were just gonna go into the millions and millions. And it just, they want to keep it where it's understandable for all of us, just basic math as we're combat fighting, right? Kind of thing. And for the system, I'm sure, as well. So that's kind of the stuff. And of course, we always don't really like it when our health bars go down at all. But it went across the board, including, I'm pretty sure, NPCs. But we'll look at this and cover this right now. So, on a special note, introducing the River Hobbits. A new starting race is now available. I'll have this link in the description for you, too, as well. The last of their kind remaining east of the Misty Mountains. River Hobbits are a Lith, that's an interesting word I haven't heard in a while, and Sylvan folk steeped in wood lore and attuned into the mountains where they are hidden dwellers. Okay, anyway, we're going to skip some of this because you want to hear the information of the update, right? You can read the story if you'd like to later yourself. River Hobbits are now available to purchase in the Lotro store. Yes, it is a purchase thing, okay? So right before everyone's like, oh, why don't they just give it to us for free? It's not something you need for the game. It's more of like, think of it like a cosmetic thing, right? You can have a different looking race, okay? And obviously there's lots of races you can already play free to play. And you have to think about it in their shoes. I totally understand. They have to make money some way, and this is the ways they make money, right? And a cool little side note that I was thinking about the other day is somehow Lotro has kept their subscription the same price for 16 years, which I find very impressive and very admirable. And I honestly would understand if they raised it slightly, but I hope they don't for all our sakes. But anyway, moving on, little side note there. The Shadows of Angmar tutorial option during character creation. Okay, look at that. River Hobbits may start their journey in the new unique tutorial by selecting Shadows of Angmar tutorial option during the character creation, or River Hobbits start before the Shadow. Okay, interesting. All right, so unique tutorial being, do they have a different opening for the Shadows of Angmar than everybody else? I would assume that's a yes, but we'll hold on to that thought and I will do a video on it later on. So keep that up for the channel. We'll go over that. In the town of Mossward, and we all know that about the Shadow before the Shadows. That's the newest expansion. That's like a new area you can kind of start, right? Which is, it was like a giving more for the beginning of the game, which was kind of a cool little idea they did. All right, the humble homes of, oh gosh, what is this name? Hobbital? Is that how you say that? Hobbital? I don't know. I'm going to say it like that and hopefully not butcher it. For that seems like ages. And okay, so these are pretty cool. So these are the new houses in the new housing area. Again, we'll have a video going over that completely. I don't want to hold you here too long. It's just an update video. We have full videos where we'll go over that kind of stuff later in the guide playlist and the tour playlist, right? So they got some cool new things. We have premium. There's different kinds of houses. All right, so we will check that out in a tour episode later on, but it's a very nice little housing area. I've already seen some pictures of it. It looks gorgeous. It looks pretty awesome. All right, the forest crafting event begins September 1st. All right, this is kind of cool. There's a whole other article on this, and I'll cover this more too but they've added our first crafting event in the game. This is really cool because we've never had something like this. I've heard other MMOs that have had it and played in other MMOs, but I've never done it myself in Lotro. This is cool. The event takes place at Combe Lumber Camp, which is a cool place for it to take place. And when active, the camp is decorated by flags, new hide stretchers, craft tables, wood piles, and bears for skidding. If you are in Breland, you will get an announcement alerting you that the event will begin in 15 minutes. Okay, cool. So probably like kind of like the Entomores. You guys remember how that had like an alert when certain events were happening? I'm sure it would be the same way. Contestants, that's the word I'm looking for, can make their way to the lumber camp and acquire quests from this guy, Wiki Thornton. All right, and his son. As the event coordinator, Wiki will bestow the quest to the forester regardless of the proficiency. Oh, okay, that's cool. So you don't have to be a certain level to do it, it looks like. Read more, so they have a whole article on that. So we'll do that a little more in detail later. But that'll be kind of cool. Get the quest. Let's see, what is the... All right, round normally kick off the contest if 3 players register for the event. There is another announcement that alerts all players that there are 2 minutes before the event begins. So you have to have at least 3 people sign up for it to start. Otherwise, the server just won't start it, which seems like a reasonable amount of people. That'll be easily met all the time, obviously. Players then follow the quest as normal and complete tasks to place first, second, and constellation. Okay, in the event. So. All right, all participants complete the race. So that first and second means if you have more than 3 people, so you might have a better chance if there's only 3 of you doing it. But if you've got like 30 people doing it, it sounds like they're going to give everyone a generic earning and then first and second, right? So that's kind of cool. I'd say cool. All participants who completed the race portion of the event will get within a first and second, there we go, all right, or participation award. So, oh, okay. Well, maybe more people can get, maybe they're categories from what they just said there, right? All players who complete the quest receive a participation, no, just everyone receives that. An advanced competition-based deeds. This guy, Bauman, has a new role in the camp as a barterer, okay? That's where you trade stuff, for those who might not know. Most of you should know this, right, if you're watching this update. Cool. New notes, stat adjustments. This is the big one. Let's cover this right now, okay? So again, I have a full in video where I'll compare my old stats to my new stats and stuff on my main character, and we'll look at some stuff without me changing anything to see what they did. But adjustments have been made to statistics across the game. Numbers have down largely across the board, mostly by about a factor of 10, in order to improve reliability and reduce stat bloat, which is an issue that can happen in any game that keeps upping stats. There's never, MMOs don't have an end game where they just stay there forever. Usually there's always an expansion, right? The balance of the game level has been smoothed out to reduce some of the more severe spikes throughout and difficulty. Okay, well that's nice. So they kind of made more, a nicer curve there. Not the little where you get spots that are a little harder, then it's easier, and then it's harder. Okay. Monster damage has gone up a bit overall. Okay, so they've made it a little harder. So I've heard some people are telling me that they were having a little more trouble in the areas once the update went through fighting. They may have bumped the game up a little bit, made it a little bit more challenging, which I think that's probably good in my personal opinion, but maybe for newer players it might be a little more challenging. But I think most people, the beginning areas will still be really easy, so learn as you go. As players healing, both relative players' overall morale pool. Okay, the level sighting tables have been updated to be a little more aggressive to adjust to the fact that the level differences in stats across the game are now smaller. Interesting. Okay, just the way you level up. This means that fighting mobs above your level now results in a small bonus to their damage and mitigation for all levels of differences. However, you're reduced all these crazy words. The automatic, I'll try to translate for you once I read it, since I know some of the stuff. Reduce the automatic mischance that those tables applied, so that the mechanic only kicks in once other monsters are considerably 6 levels above you. All right, now this has any effect when you are fighting enemies at level or below. It won't do anything. Okay. All right. So basically, when you're really higher level, there's a system that, I mean, lower level than an NPC or a mob, right? An enemy. If they're like 5-6 levels above you, usually it kicks in where you miss a lot, right? It's really hard to fight them because you're under leveled, right? It's to make it where you can't just like, oh, I'm so strong, I can go fight other NPCs that are 10 levels higher than me, no problem, right? That's to kind of balance that, make sure that doesn't happen in the MMO. So this is basically just so it's a little easier to hit people now on level, but when they're really high above you, you need to level up before you fight them. That's translated, okay? That's not really that big of a deal. Figured stats gained the Vitality, okay, and Fate have both been reduced for all classes. This is because the health bars were getting too big, okay? And the mitigation things, I think that was the numbers were getting too big, so they lowered it. So it's not quite as intense, which again, of course, they've lowered the stats for other things in the game too. So it's not like we're just all weaker now for the whole game. The game itself has had lowered stats on certain things and NPCs. As these stats now operate at a higher ratio compared to the other main stats, and they were over contributing to figured characteristics. Yeah, I agree with this. As much as I really am like, oh, I don't want to lose my HP as a guardian, right? I get that feeling. I'm sure you all have that too when you first got here. You're like, oh, why is my health down 50,000, right? If you were at max level or whatever, you know, because I was almost at 200,000 health and now I'm at like 130, right? I think that's good though, because it did feel like people could just stack Vitality, and that was really all that you cared about for most classes and Fate. So I think that it'd be more like, well, I'm an agility-based character, and you stack all agility, right? And you have a lot less health, but now that they've matched the health out, it won't be so drastic where you're like, down 150,000 health, right? Because you don't have a lot of Vitality items. You get my point? I think that's good. I think that's a good thing, in my opinion. They should generally just keep their overall contribution similar to what it was. Yeah, exactly. I think that we'll see how this goes. If it goes really bad, knowing Standing Stones, they may revert something. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? They may revert some changes on this. But I think it'll be okay. I think it's something that is needed, especially because when the next level goes up, all their stats are going to go up again and health bars. So, and it probably, I'm assuming, the Corsairs, right, of Umbar area, or Harad, whatever they're going to release there in the south. I'm assuming that's going to be level 145 or 150, and that's getting pretty up there. I mean, that's a pretty high level. And I really do like that they're increasing the levels. I'm glad that I don't really want Lotro to just decide. This is a little side opinion. What do you guys think? Leave a comment on this. I'd love to hear your opinion. I don't really want them to just be like, okay, 150, you know, that's the max level. Now, when we have new expansions, we have to upgrade this thing, right? No, don't do that. Just always make it a level increase. I know people are like, well, in 10 years, you know, we'd level 200. Well, that's how it goes. This is what they're going to have to do, right? They're going to have to keep the stat thing balanced, right, across the board. And this is something they needed because this game, right, was made a while back, and it's been really refreshed and updated in a lot of ways. So things are a lot more streamlined now than they were back in the day. And I played the game a lot back in classic Lotro, the original, right? Because I played right when the game first came out. Yeah, this is good. Anyway, sorry. Moving on. Don't want to distract you. You guys are all gonna like, don't click off. Let's finish the update. We're almost done. Player versus monster player. Free players now gain, okay, 50% morale from having full equipment worn. Whoa, that's cool. So you get a bunch of HP if you have the special equipment. Or the Audacity. Okay. All right. This is because the stat crunch lowers players' damage more than it lowers monster players' damage. So this 50% morale bonus keeps the ratio of monster player damage to free morale where it was pre-crunch. I'm going to be honest, Standing Stones, with that one. That's a little... You didn't do it to monster players? I don't know about that. Because now that means free-to-play players are going to have this gear. Now, back in the day, when the game first came out, that was a thing. You had to have the special gear, okay? Because it reduced stuns in the Antimorphs, like the duration of how hard you can be locked down and held down, basically, by stuns and, you know, snares and things. But what they're saying is the monster players still have higher damage than the free peoples? Yeah. My personal experience as a guardian was that the monster players always had more damage than the free peoples. Now, again, I know that monster players are like, that's not true. Rune keepers and burglars can one-shot us and lore mess. Yes, for a new monster player character. If you've played your monster player character and have its stats really high, they're really strong. So we'll see how that works. Hopefully. Maybe it'll make, who knows, maybe it'll make it more fun. Monster players' morale and healing values have been adjusted as part of the stats. Okay, maybe they don't heal as much. Okay, that would be good, because monster players always had too much healing. Those defilers, you all know what I'm talking about if you played back in the day. Toxins. Power drains is no longer increased by a Weaver's tactical damage. Venom multiplier. Okay, this is get a PvP thing. Post-stat crunch power is too tightly bound to toxic to have... Okay. So they lowered, they did think about it in PvP, right? Of course they did. They're pretty good about this. The spiders, their certain ability to do something. They didn't want to make it because our stats are lower and their stats that their power is now even more overpowered kind of thing. Creep base has been adjusted. I do not know that acronym off the top of my head. You guys know what that means? Has been adjusted, and the racial traits which improve have adjusted to match pre-stat crunch. Oh, okay. Maybe that they have. Okay, so they have adjusted the creeps stats. All right, I take it back what I said. Good job. I should have read a little farther. Creep max power. Okay, cool. Now I'd love to see a new set of armor for max level 140, and then whatever the next level is in the Entomors. What do you guys vote? Don't forget to like the video. Like it. Maybe we get this out. Maybe Standing Stones will hear this. We would like armor for PvP. I think there should be a really good set of armor for every class at max level in the PvP zone. So people will have the incentive to go play PvP. And if free peoples want to go play PvP, guess what? People on the monster play side are going to be like, we want to fight them because that's fun. And they give them some incentives. I think that's a good way to get people back in the PvP or PvMP zone. Okay? In the zone. What do you guys think? I think it's a good idea. I think they're maybe not the best gear in the game, but gear that's more designed towards PvP. All right? Maybe with a special ability or something. Okay? Back in the day, we had a special item that would get us out of stuns, but if you guys remember that. Bjorning update. Okay, so now at this point, this is a full, again, this is not my flash update, this is a full update. So we're gonna go a little longer. We're gonna cover the class updates. There's some big updates to the Bjorning, and then the really big one, Guardian, okay, which is my class. I'll have a whole separate video on it in detail too. But for now, let's just cover this, okay? So the Bjorning update 37 includes an extensive update to the Bjorning. Note that all Bjorning traits and skills will versions as part of this update, so you'll need to reselect your traits. Yeah, okay, they do that every time. If you ever get a class update, you're gonna have to reselect your traits, okay? Claw Swipe is now available. Again, you guys can read this if you're a Bjorning player, so I don't really want to go over this whole thing. It'll add so much time to this video, right, for you guys. And I know your time is precious, and I appreciate you watching. I greatly do. And liking the video. That means a lot. You guys, that's a great way to freely support me. I appreciate them a lot. So they've got a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff. So there are a bunch of class updates. The hide, okay, the claw, these are the different trees. They've got a bunch of different updates. They looks max 30%. So this is like every detail. Okay. Again, we're not going to go over every single one of these details right now for this video. You can go read this yourself because this is a lot of information. if you really care to read all of it, right? I'm sure there's some people out there that love to see this, and I'm glad that Standing Stones does this, but that's a lot. Bug fixes. They fix the strike here and a couple other things right there off two hands. Cool. Guardian update. The Guardian update, we'll have a whole video on this separately later in game, and I'll show you the new skills and stuff. I think it's so good. Now, I will say, I will make one comment. They did do the thing that I was kind of hoping they wouldn't do with Guardians, but that's what they've been doing with everyone else, is making the yellow tree like a secondary tree where you choose either blue line for tank or red line for DPS, right? This is for a Guardian example. And then the yellow line is like extra things that'll help the DPS tree or it'll help the tank tree. It's fine. I think that it gives... There's two sides of the coin. One side is it doesn't give as much customization because now you have one less full tree. That's a separate tree that has separate abilities. But the other side of the coin, which I think is more relevant in this case, is now you have more creative ability to add more of your points, because that yellow tree now only costs 1 point to put an extra point into. Like, so before I would always spec into red for DPS, right? And then it would cost 2 points for every 1 point in the yellow tree because I wasn't spec'd into it. But now it's only 1 point, right? So it gives me a little bit more customization in that way. So, and I got, they didn't, from what I've seen, they haven't really removed any of the Guardian skills. They just gave us a few more, which was cool. We have some like cool roars now and stuff with some really cool effects. Yeah. So anyway, pretty cool. There's a bunch of stuff right here you can see. The Keen Blade. And they basically did a new order of how the tree looks. So the Guardian got a really big update. Again, I'm going to do its own video entirely on that because I don't want to make you guys have to sit through just reading all these stats. Nobody's going to want to be here that whole time. Classes and skills. I don't want to either. Even though I love to know what's going on. Skill animations, speeds for many skills were incorrectly affected by the type of weapon you had equipped. This made some weapons, such as clubs and swords, faster than other weapons, like axes and hammers. Weapon types should not impact the speed at which your skill are executed 100%. So this disparity has been corrected, and all weapons should now have a speed equivalent to that of the existing swords and bows. Okay, and I'm sure they made it look where it looks good too, obviously. I would hope. I'd assume. So burglars, so they've done a bunch of stuff there. Quests and deeds and areas. Bunch of update stuff here. Huge amount of information. The housing decorations, they've added some stuff with hooks. Doormats can now be used on furniture hooks. Oh, interesting. So you could like hang your doormat. Huh, it just, yeah. Small rug decorations can now be used on doormat hooks. Okay. Floor hooks have been consolidated with furniture okay. Interesting. Had they given us more hooks, like for the house, that means that allows you to put things in the house. That'd be kind of cool too. It doesn't say that, but cool. Those are good little updates. Item rewards, bunch of stuff there. More PvP stuff. The old Return to Gramsfoot map now has a 1 minute cooldown. Sweet. So this is for the monster play side, because basically for monster players, it used to be where you had to like earn something to get it lower cooldown instead of an hour. Now it's just a minute, which is a way better. It's way better. It's going to make it more fun for monster players to get around and do stuff, right? Players are now directed to head north to the Captain General in Glanvreg as part of the new player tutorial in the Entomores. Oh, cool. All right. The Tarkrip Blessing now. Okay, that's another. Those are some different changes. Okay. Landscape. Implemented some additional safety nets to prevent Glowin and friends from sinking into the rocks behind. Okay. So these are little updates, you know, little glitches where they find something where it's like a new area is added and someone's falling in a hole or something. Players will no longer be able to fall through the wall floor of the last homely house, while in the instance, messages from Lorien. Just falling into the abyss of nothingness. That's so funny. And we got some stuff with language things, German, for my German friends out there, French. Cool. There you guys go. Got some cool updates for that. Cool. All right. Miscellaneous, some more information there. So that was about it. There's some more stuff down here. Legendary item level cap for characters at level 140 will increase from 490 to 495. That's kind of a big one on August 30th, which is when I'm making this video. Just so happens. Don't forget to forget your legendary items. Don't forget to reforge your legendary items. Yes, of course. I like how they just add that note. I always say that too. I'm like, guys, reforge it. Disable the right-click menu in the store, which has causing issues when it used a full-screen client. Okay, interesting. All right, little bug fix. The Dwarf Candle cosmetic consumables have been retired from the Lotro store. Oh, interesting. All right, those are those, interesting. Okay, those are the ones that you, like, it'll just do a big light beam, like almost like a beacon when you light it. That's surprising. I know for me, maybe they'll still give them during events, you know, like a gift to everyone. They just decided not to put them in the Lotro store anymore, which is fine. Doesn't say they got rid of them from the game. Emotes. Human female and Bjorning females now play the correct sounds for the following emotes. Drink, boot, sneeze, stone. Okay, apparently they had a messed up sound effect. Okay. The attack emote now has sound effects for all races and genders. Cool, cool. All right. Many race gender combos were incorrectly playing 2 burp sound effects. This is sort of funny thing to have wrong. Burp emote animation, burp at the start of the animation has been removed. So it would go like twice. That's funny. All right, cool. Well, I think we covered that pretty thoroughly. You can read more of this yourself. I'll have it linked in the description if it helps you out. Anyway, my friends, have a great and wonderful day in Middle-earth. Thank you to all of my Patreons for their support. If my Patreon button will come up. Oh, well. My Patreon button, I'm gonna have to fix that. It's not working. Here, I will do it manually. Ah, there it is. All right, you guys have a great, wonderful day in Middle-earth. Subscribe button's there. Next episode's up over there. And over there, we'll have a little Taylor do voiceovers in this wonderful game. Baruch Hazard Kuzar, I meant you. Stay happy, my friends. Thanks for watching the whole video. Appreciate it.